Hey, everybody. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Yes, that's right. It's time for Sarcastic Distractions, the interesting podcast for interesting people. And today, as always, you're joined by the Gentleman Society of Podcasting, featuring myself, Harvey, my heterosexual life mate, David,
Hello.
and the ever-loving crazy man, AJ.
E.T. was the best game ever.
What? No. That's not the kind of crazy, AJ. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for another kind of crazy, if you got it.
But it was the best game ever, right?
Well, no.
That's why they had to hide all the cartridges in the desert.
That's right, because they didn't want everybody getting them all because it's so good.
Exactly, because it was so good.
Good game. If in case you haven't figured out, that's not quite exactly what we're talking about today. But we are talking video games, but more importantly, acquisitions. Last week, one of the biggest acquisitions in the history of entertainment happened. Definitely in the video game industry. Definitely in the gaming industry. There are bigger ones. We're going to discuss those as well. But the biggest one we want to talk about right now is the fact that Microsoft, specifically Xbox, has bought Activision Blizzard and King, which is a mobile company. And for, what is it, $67.5 billion is I think what they purchased it for. Let's just round it up to $70 billion just to make it easy. $70 billion they're basically buying. Sure, whatever. Yeah,
that was nice
that they're buying
Microsoft to buy Activision of Blizzard. That's an expensive Blizzard, mind you.
I mean, better be more than just peanut butter and chocolate. That's for sure.
Right. Oh, I'm looking here. No, they bought Activision Blizzard. Oh,
right.
Yeah. Subsidiary.
For sure. And for our audience that may not be in the know, Activision is responsible for numerous gaming properties, but the biggest one being Call of Duty, which by and large is the biggest selling franchise year after year. Say what you will, if you're a fan or not, makes no difference. The fact is that property makes a lot of money. And now, as of 2023, it's solely Microsoft's money.
I don't know if I'd call that the biggest, though. We really want to talk about great games. Come on, Diablo, far better.
Agreed. I agree. I agree. Warcraft, StarCraft, Tony Hawk, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, like all those games are for me better than Call of Duty. However, they don't make as much money.
No, it's really important. We all know that $70 billion that AJ was talking about, really that was paid for Candy Crush.
Yeah, you're freaking right, dude. Like, I think that's the biggest narrative. Everyone's talking about how these gaming acquisitions, whether they're going to exist on Sony after this and all that stuff. Yeah, that's an important conversation, but the reality is, Dave, you nailed it on the head. Why do they do this? Because they needed help in the mobile gaming department. And yeah.
Oh, they needed help everywhere. Microsoft in games has over time just kind of.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they have like 2 or 3 really great stalwart franchises, but ultimately they're not in the same first party as Sony or even Nintendo is. And I mean, I don't believe there's an actual console war anymore. I don't think that really exists. I think everybody has their market, but I do believe there is a content war going on where it's like, all right, as a company, we need to survive. How are we going to do this? We're going to buy up properties so that the way they're exclusive to us. We've seen Sony doing it for a number of years now, buying up first party studios so that way they can create these amazing first party masterpieces. I can go on with The Last of Us, with the God of War series, with another Naughty Dog property. What's the other one? Last of Us. They also did the Uncharted series, the Ghost of Tsushima. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on about how many studios Sony's purchased so that the way they can release first party games. Case in point, I think they've only got like 3 exclusives coming out that are known of for the year 2022, and it's enough to more or less say Sony may win whatever it is they're going to win for the year because of just those exclusives. That's not including anything they've not announced yet. So in a way, Microsoft's kind of catching up to the curve, but they're catching up in a big way. Like last year, they purchased ZeniMax, which is the owners of Bethesda. There's a number of other studios under that mix, but Bethesda makes the Fallout series. Fallout's a big one, and a number of other games of Doom. I think they own id and other Doom series and whatnot. So
I not like any of the redos of Doom, but anyway, whole other conversation.
It's funny you say that because I just got the 2016 version of Doom. I'm excited to play it, but I feel like I'm going to be in the same camp. Like I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm not going to enjoy it as much as I liked. No, the first three back in the day.
Yeah, looking here, Activision has the Doom.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Exactly. Yeah, sorry. But thank you.
I'm kind of curious because I was reading was they might be contemplating on bringing back old properties that were discontinued, such as Guitar Hero.
Right. And Skylanders.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I don't know why you'd bring back Sky. I hope they don't bring it back as those little creatures.
I mean, that's
like, if it's just a standalone game and you don't have to do the Toys to Life thing, that would be kind of cool.
But isn't the money in the Toys to Life thing? I don't know. I've never played Skylanders. I'm just going off what I know.
Yes and no. I'll touch on that in a sec. If they do something different and good with Guitar Hero, that would probably prompt me to buy an Xbox.
I love the guitar, when they get moved into the band, you have the drums. God, I love those drums back in the day. I'm not a drummer, but fuck, I enjoyed it.
It's funny
as a drummer, I was terrible at that. Because it's not actually drumming. How you drum.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But so like I was pretty good at the guitar part, but I was terrible. Like it was almost like the guitar part was more rhythmic in playing a beat than the drums were.
Yeah.
It was weird.
For sure. Yeah.
I have to admit, the Guitar Hero was great because I remember, us playing like back in the day, like having just hours of us playing and sharing the guitars around because you did have the two guitars. Yep. But what I loved about it was not only that, but I'd go to my dad's place and I'd play with my father, Guitar Hero. Because it was one of those things, a lot of people were able to get into it because you could just play simple mode and you're just clicking some buttons. And my dad would be excited because 90% of the music was old school, old rock and roll.
Yep. Yeah, right. I would agree. It's a very universal game, and the fact that it's gone by the wayside is so surreal because you figure it would still be popular. And I still go back to one of the hardest things I've ever done in my video gaming career, which is extensive, is that tool set from Guitar Hero 3 of the 3 songs that they did. That is like, I don't care what difficulty you play it on, it's so freaking hard to hit every single note on it. It's like, holy shit. Like it's still memorable to me today. And who knows how long ago that it was that I played that. So I plus one both that. I think Guitar Hero is an easy fix. But for me, if they release a new Fallout and it's good, I'm probably going to buy an Xbox. Like I'm already, I mean, I'm at the point of teetering as it is. Like I'm kind of on the verge of like, well, an Xbox S isn't that bad. I mean, how much is Game Pass really? And for what it's worth, if you haven't watched our shows at all, I'm not necessarily against any gaming. I do side towards the Sony more so, and a little bit of the Nintendo, only through sheer osmosis. Like I've been playing Sony machines since the PlayStation 1, but I love the Xbox and what they've created. So it's it's just a little nudge. As all that says, yeah, just a little bit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll buy it. So
yeah,
that's where it's at for me. Yeah,
decent.
Pardon?
I think it'll have to be something decent for me. Like it'll have to look good or play differently or have some sort of new mechanic. At least Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Because I think the problem was it was when it came out, it was so popular, it became somewhat like it oversaturated the market.
Yeah,
right?
That'll pass in.
It's so many different iterations of Guitar Hero. You had, 1, 2, 3, and then was it Monsters of Rock, and then you had Van Halen and Metallica, and then Rock Band comes out, which I know is a completely different property altogether, but it's the same fucking thing.
It's the same, yeah, for sure. This is
right. So that niche was so oversaturated for the longest time that I could see why it fell by the wayside as a new game.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you go to certain people's houses or had gone to certain people's houses or parties or whatever, then bust out the Guitar Hero.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But if their track record's anything to consider, look what they did recently with Tony Hawk 1 and 2. They did a re-release, remastered. It sold like hotcakes to the point that they're now considering some sort of sequel, whatever that looks like. And really, it's just them re-releasing the old games. I'm sure if they did something similar to Guitar Hero, case like same thing happens, right? And they just hit like gangbusters, and then they're back on the track of selling a shitload of copies again, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I just going to say what I find funny about all the re-release thing is just how just our generation is ruling it all. They re-release games for us. They re-release movies for us. They redo for us. TV shows for us.
It's so true.
It's true.
Yeah, Sony just, I guess this year to coincide with the Uncharted movie release coming out next month, they released the Uncharted 4 and something of Thieves. I can't remember the full title, as a compilation, remastered, whatever, blah, 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 all that stuff for, an $80 price tag. And like, I still own like all the Uncharted games. It's like, well, why would I go and like buy a PS5 version when I already have these? Well, it's a little bit better upscaled. Like, well, did you upscale the PS4 version? Yeah, we did, but this is more upscaled. Like, again, you're getting me to try to part with $80. Like, why? You know what I mean? But that's the power of nostalgia, right? There's a lot of people out there that A, haven't played it, B, gotten rid of it, or C, never really gotten a chance to experience these, so they're going to go into it for the first time. Why would you buy these games without playing Uncharted 1, 2, and 3? I don't know, but there are people that are out there that are going to do that.
Well, the other thing coming about, this is more of the new systems. It's a lot more common just to download the games.
It's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, for sure.
Download and subscribe.
Which brings me to my next point. Like, I really think the acquisition for Microsoft was for their Game Pass service, which I think we can agree hands down that's like the best thing going in gaming is Game Pass. Like, nobody touches it. Like, Nintendo is trying with the NES, SNES, and 64, but it's not even close to what Microsoft is doing. Like,
well, no, and even Sony's isn't close because you're not getting new games day one,
right?
With Nintendo and like yeah, the nostalgia is great. Like I've got the Nintendo online retro shits, right?
Yep.
And I don't know, it's weird. There's just something about it that's not the same.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right? Like I don't know. It's almost like your brain says, no, this is the wrong controller, therefore it's difficult.
That happened to me like a couple of years ago. I tried to go and replay Metal Gear Solid for PS1. I'm not sure where I tried to play it. I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Like, I'm like, oh, it's so disorienting. It's really fucked. Like, why is the camera static? Because that's the way it was built. Okay, that's the way it was. It's me that's changed. It's like, oh shit, like I suck at this game so much that I was good at, but like it's just because my mind has evolved to different styles of games. But
I completely agree. Like, not only playing with the controller and whatever, but like Super Mario Brothers is fucking hard.
Yeah, man.
Oh yes.
Like those games going back. I got a buddy who kind of collects retro shit, and yeah, he's got stacks and stacks of Nintendo games. It's like you put them in, you try to play it, and it's like, nope, I can't play this anymore. I can't do this shit because I only have 3 lives, not unlimited.
Yeah,
right.
Kind of.
You can't re-heal and come back to life right away.
Right.
And if we're going to talk about that, we all know Mario Brothers 2. Fuck that game.
Yeah. Fuck that game.
Yeah.
I love playing it, but fuck that game.
Never beat that.
Yeah, I loved it too. God damn it.
Fucking hard. At least with one, like the memorization, you get it. And I would say 3 too. There's like when you start to understand how the levels are structured, you can start to piece together how you're going to make through. But 2's not like that. 2 is a very different animal for sure.
Very different. Because the nice thing about 1 and 3 is once you figure out how to skip and do the tornadoes and shit like that, you can actually explore a little bit.
Absolutely.
Not one spot. 2, yeah, no, you're pretty much stuck in one spot.
Pretty much.
Super Mario 2, as we know it, technically isn't Super Mario 2.
That's true too.
It was like, what was it, Okie Dokie Challenge or some shit like that was the name of the game in Japan.
Yeah, and then we skinned it.
Nintendo just slapped new skins on it. If you play the Super Nintendo game Mario All Stars, you get what's called the Lost Levels, as an extra kind of. So you get Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, and Super Mario the Lost Levels. And that was actually supposed to be Super Mario 2, but Nintendo of America was like, no, that's too fucking hard. Our market won't dig that. That's way too fucking hard. Do something else. So yeah, they slapped a new skin on Okie Dokie Challenge, and that's what we get as the fever dream we know as Super Mario 2.
Which, two things I want to say about that. Number one, how is that any fucking harder than the Lost or any easier than the Lost Levels? First off. Second, I will give credit to the fact that the second Mario 2 in Okie Dokie Challenge or whatever did introduce us to new characters that they still use today, whether they be Bombs or Birdo or
That's true.
So they expanded the Mario kind of, what do you want to call it, lore through that game.
The mythos,
the mythos.
No,
exactly.
And you're right. There are some of the most popular characters in the Mario universe do come from Mario 2, like you said.
Yeah, for sure.
Shy Guy,
Mauser,
like that.
And
sure.
Yeah. Oh,
and then Luigi with the with the
well,
legs, and
giving them all their
the way that Mario and
traits.
Luigi look now too, right? Like in the second one, Mario was this short, fat little dude. Luigi was this skinny tall guy. And that's kind of how it went going forward, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Give Nintendo credit on that, because I mean, for them to reskin it and make it a Mario game and be passable was pretty impressive when you look at the original copy. And like I said, to transcend it to something else. Obviously, I feel like Mario 3 is that sweet spot of what Mario should be, where it's like it's quote unquote map based, but it's still the same controls and actions with a little bit of flavor thrown in. That's your traditional Mario. I mean, if you look at Super Mario Brothers, was just really a more linear version of Mario Brothers, which was just the competing over the coins and the pipes thing, which was fun.
Right.
And
that's the special level that you get in Super Mario 3 when you both land on the same
exactly thing. That used to be the original game, and then Donkey Kong.
That was Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So to extend it into what it was, Mario Brothers, and then to expand on that to make, well, I guess they didn't expand on the Mario 2. They just basically fucking revamped the whole game. And then Mario 3 to actually expand on that and create what they did. And then from there, it's pretty special. But there's one thing about Nintendo that they do better than anybody else. For sure. There's no company on the planet that does this better than Nintendo. And that is how they continue to resell us the same fucking games year in, year out at the same price. And then they don't compromise. They don't balk at it. Like, no, we're still going to charge you a Pokemon right now.
No, I made the joke of Pokemon.
Okay.
When you said the thing about this is what Nintendo does better than anybody, and I was like, hey, Pokemon, and then my
so basically I made the comment that Pokemon Nintendo does what they do better than everybody else is they resell us their games year in and year out for the same price, in some capacity or another. And then Dave's point was Pokemon, which there's the surest example of that. And then I was making the example of their newest one, is it Arceus, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's
something like that. Yeah.
Arceus, yeah. This is the first time they've changed the Pokemon format. I think it's always been the same up with the exception of Pokemon Snap. I think that might have been the one exception, but outside of that, it's always been.
I think yes and no, because I mean I used to play it on the Game Boy all the time.
Yep.
And then Nikki and I, when we got a Switch, we got, I can't remember which one it is, Sword or Shield or whatever the last one was. And I'm thinking it's more of how it looks and the storyline of the game that's changed.
All right.
I think most of the mechanics are still somewhat familiar, like the catching of the Pokemon and the fighting of the Pokemon, but you don't have your purpose isn't to go around and fight gym leaders in this new one.
Right.
It's like a prequel. It's kind of like the origin story of
right.
how it all fucking started. But yeah, you're right, because going from playing Pokemon, is it Red was the first one I started playing, to Sword and Shield, you're right. It's basically the same the same game, the same idea. You start off at your house, you go see the doctor, you pick your Pokemon, you go on your adventure, you catch all the Pokemon, you fight all the gym leaders, yay, you win.
And would you agree? I made a point when you lost connection with us, to Adam Sessler's point, the host of X Play. Basically, Pokemon is dogfighting for children. That's
I guess, yeah, essentially.
that's what it is. Oh no!
Essentially, they wouldn't let it. Was it? Yeah, when it first came out, they were like, no, you can't play that shit at school, because kids were, I guess, basically gambling with their Pokemon, right?
Right.
You could hook two Nintendos up together or two Game Boys up together and fucking gamble with your Pokemon. And then when the cards came out, that was even worse.
Oh, that was it.
Pokemon was never the big thing in school. Marbles.
Marbles was huge. Yeah.
Marbles was shit. I remember.
That's the same.
Sorry,
that's the same thing. That's kind of gambling, right?
And you cut their bags of marbles when they leave and they're outside.
I remember one kid in our public school. He did something wrong with marbles. I don't know if he reneged. He reneged on a bet or something. Like, he got his ass kicked, like, because of marbles.
Marbles.
Marbles. Right? That's a public school. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, we take marbles seriously around here. Okay, if you're gonna bet, you gotta bet. So
this is going back almost 10 years, but I tried to play marbles with my kids, and they're just like, I don't get it. This is boring. I'm like, no, it's really important. And they're like, yeah.
For sure. I'm wondering how many kids are watching Squid Game and watching that marbles part and like, I don't get it. Like, oh, what do you mean you don't get it? What do you mean?
Well, I was just the memory of it. Like, you go out, you put your heel, you rump to get the hole, you stand back. All right, who wants first throw? If you get that, and it was just
the best.
Yeah.
So what we're basically saying is Pokemon was like the new version of marbles.
Yeah.
No, it's like Pogs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I never got that
same fucking thing.
No, a little bit past our generation, I think, by just like a couple of years. I mean, marbles.
Marbles. Younger brothers and sisters, they were into it, but I never got Pogs.
But for what it's worth, marbles endured. I don't think Pogs did. Like, people have still played marbles in some sort of fashion since then. At some point. But like,
I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, not in this part of the world.
Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while.
Maybe in some less fortunate parts of the world who don't have so much electronics and cell phones
they
and
just have
TVs
some glass balls flying around,
playing fucking marbles. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
AJ, you're really staticky, eh? Do you
am I?
Chris?
Yeah, you are staticky. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's weird. I don't sound like I'm staticky. Hold on a sec. Let me.
Yeah, you're like poppy sounding. I tried to chat it, but it didn't help through the chat.
I was hoping that you just fix it. Hello?
Yeah, I don't.
Still poppy.
Really I seem to hear it on this end.
Okay. Are you doing the audio recording?
No, I didn't think I had to. Of course I'm doing that.
Oh, that's why. The only reason I was asking is if your end sounded fine, then it doesn't matter that Chris is recording. It was just one of those. If Chris is recorded and we're hearing it, we might want to touch.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope. I hope it doesn't come out weird on the other end. If it does, I'm sorry, everybody.
You'll have to fix it in post.
Yeah, right.
Get rid of the poppy sound.
Because that's something that can happen.
For sure. All right, back to gaming talk.
And
for sure. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with the Pokemon talk, and I think with Arceus, even though Arceus, whatever you want to call it, I think it's Nintendo's way of trying to keep that franchise relevant. So let me ask you this: okay, so Microsoft spends, let's say, for all intents and purposes, $74 billion inside 2 years to acquire two of the biggest media conglomerates known to man, in order to bolster their first party games, IPs. Yeah. Right, and that's the reason why they did it, to add on to the Game Pass, to create exclusives, so that way you, the consumer, wants to buy into Microsoft. One of the things they mentioned too, I think Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft, mentioned that there's 25 million subscribers to Game Pass, which is great, but that's clearly not like their end goal. They clearly want to build more subscribers. So what I want to ask of you guys, if you're a Sony or you're a Nintendo, what do you do in response to this? type of acquisition? Do you let it go? Do you think of, well, what can we do differently? Stick in your lane? Like, what are you guys' thoughts?
I'm not sure.
I know what my thoughts
Sorry,
are.
I'm honestly more preoccupied with this staticky thing.
Sure.
You've got me all fucked up here. So
I'm sorry.
Well, if it helps, we can still hear you, so that's something.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just staticky. That's all.
For sure.
Here, I'll start with the answer. I actually don't care. So, but I'm at that annoying generation that I never. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I've had consoles, but I never really got into consoles. I've always been more of a desktop PC gamey guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have fun. I've played games on my son's console, which he got as a gift from the the grandfather aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, no, I'm kind of all just desktop fun. Now, that being said, it is moving more towards, I think, that subscription to shows. Back in the day, it used to be Netflix. They're the only ones you subscribe to. Now there's 500 you subscribe to.
Right.
I think in some ways, and not as bad, but gaming's a little bit like that. You can either do Steam and you pay per buy. Like, that's always been kind of the Steam way of doing. Or, yeah, you can now, online anyway, I don't know about Sony, but definitely for Microsoft, you can subscribe to these games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So yeah, okay. I appreciate
I'm a PC. If I was to get back into gaming, and again, we all know the game I play, Rust, which is the game. Everybody else, their games are shit. Rust is the game. Civ has a close second. But if I was to get back into gaming, yeah, I'd probably do like a Game Pass on my desktop as a start.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably an easy way to go, for sure.
Yeah.
I
It's my style, though. I'm that generation of amazing game player where I don't need a system. I'm all about my PC.
Well, I would say many people will still side on the PC as the master race, for sure. I don't think as great as
a strategy guy, right? That's more my I prefer.
But even still, in terms of power hardware, don't get me wrong, the PS5 and Xbox One are close, but are they PC adjacent? Not quite.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the nice thing always about PCs too, is that you start here, and if you want to build it up, go nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, even my laptop, which is pretty powerful, I'm starting to see its age. And it's like, well, what can I do to make it better? Well, I could buy more RAM. I could buy, there's a bunch of things I could do.
Laptops are harder, but desktop.
They're harder. But I'm just saying, it's a lot easier versus with my PS5. It's like, well, what can I do? Well, I can expand its memory. What up? Anything else? Nope. There's really not a whole lot more you can do. I got to exist with whatever.
They are very customized to gaming. So I will give the head nod to both the Xbox and the PS on that front, which is everything about them, they have one sole purpose, and that is to be a gaming machine for you.
For sure. And I would say they probably, both of them, a decade of life, I would give them. I would say dedicated to gaming, for sure. And considering now, like, we're still, like, these machines are a year and a bit, a year and a quarter into the market, and they're still impossible to get. Like, they're still really hard to get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S. Like, they're very tricky to get. So for companies to continue to invest in these consoles, which knowing full well that they can't necessarily cater to their market, it says a lot for the future of gaming, right? It says a lot to say, well, we're going to hitch our wagon to your horse, knowing full well that when things get moving in a positive direction, we're going to see the dividends of that, right? I think that says a lot, right? You look at Sony's response, so they know that they can't produce as many PS5s as demanded, so now they're starting to put more focus in the PS4 because they can still sell those, and are still selling those. So yeah,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They've decided to just put more production into that because, I mean, it's still cheaper to produce a PS4 than a PS5 at this moment in time. Right. So their goal is like, oh, we have an install base of this, so let's work on that. Again, coming back to content, more focuses more on content versus how many consoles you sell. I still don't think they're, like, in my opinion, Sony's answer to what Microsoft has done would be a two-pronged attack. Would be, number one, Sony's library is vast, going back to the PS1 era. There's so many properties, there's so many games, there's so many things that they could touch upon, and they haven't. Like, they used to be the gold standard when it came to backwards compatibility, and for some reason they dropped off on that. Even with the PS5, pardon?
It's funny you say that. I read something the other day that there's rumors saying that they're going to make the PS5 backward compatible all the way to PS1.
This is what they're talking about. And I think this is something
Yeah.
as a company they need to do. You need to embrace
I think it'd be great.
that retro market. Absolutely, it'd be fucking great. You should make it so I could throw a PS1 into my PS5 machine and be able to play it.
I would be more apt to spend $700 on a PS5 if that were the case.
Absolutely, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
And even still digitally, like now we're starting to see, I think they're starting to show PS3 games and such on the PS5 store, which you should make all those games digital to the point of compatibility. There shouldn't even be a question.
Shit, man, you can play fucking Crazy Taxi on PS Now.
Fuck yeah. Listen, if they give me Metal Gear Solid 3 on my PS5, that's it. There's my life. See you later. I'll just go play that for days and days and days and never stop. Right? Because there's all the nostalgia factor. Nintendo gets it. Obviously, Nintendo gets it. They may have created it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that you could play literally. Like this is a great point. Like I saw the writing on the wall, but they still got me. So when whatever it was a year ago or 2 years ago when Mario's 35th anniversary was happening, they released Mario All-Stars, which was just Super Mario Bros. 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, which Sunshine I played a little bit of, and Galaxy I've never played. I had no intentions on buying this collection. None. I'm like, all right, I'll play them another time, some other way. And then they said it was a timed exclusive. I'm like, what timed exclusive? What do you mean a timed exclusive? Like, well, by March of this date, we won't sell this game anymore. Like, what the fuck? You serious? Like, you're clearly selling these games like gangbusters. It was the week of that they were about to expire the sale. I'm like, fucking, I'm buying it. I'm buying it. Because I've never played those two games, and I play on my Switch. So I'm like thinking to myself, well, it's a great experience. I'll pay the $70 for it, whatever. And then sure enough, they announced the N64 expansion pack for their online service. And lo and behold, Mario 64 is the game, one of the most popular games ever, included in their service. And which for me, like I've beaten that game. I can't even count how many times I've beaten that game. So I'm not concerned about it. But I also know if it's the N64, then it's the GameCube, then it's the Wii, then it's the, you know what I mean? Like that's clearly what they're doing. So eventually the games that I fucking purchased for $70 will eventually be in the service for whatever you pay yearly or monthly for.
Yeah.
Oh, guaranteed. And so I was like, oh, they got me. All right, okay, you got me for $70. That's fine.
Well, yeah, you're right, because I think it's like $70 a year or something like that for the add-on or something.
For sure. Right? So
yeah.
And again, like this is across the board. Like nostalgia is a massive drug when it comes, especially in the gaming world. But when it comes to Sony's point, like once someone made this point too, and if this is what happens, I'll be like, yep. So the one thing, they need to focus on the retro gaming. So either come up with a service very similar to Game Pass where you release all of your back catalog shit, and then you start doing day one releases like Game Pass for your exclusives. I think that's the way to go. But number two, I think what they also need to do is start opening up the pathways. So you start to allow your games on PC. And then if you're willing to play with others, maybe see if other people will allow you to play your exclusives and things like that. And then start leaning into that market because that's where it's at. And then the other massive point, this was the one point brought to me. If this fucking happens, good night, Irene. I don't know how it's going to get any better than this. But there's rumors. I don't know how. Take it with a grain of salt. There's rumors Sony might buy Take-Two Interactive or EA. So Take-Two
would be huge for them to buy.
Oh my God. Then they own fucking GTA. Done. Simple as that.
Just Take-Two does Borderlands as well, don't they?
They do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes. But if they could come up with an exclusive agreement with them, they don't even have to own them. They just have to say for the first year, for the first whatever, GTA 6 will be on a Sony console first and foremost.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you can say what you will, but the install base for GTA is so strong that I feel like that's enough to compete for a little while with, like I said, like an online service similar to Game Pass to be able to compete in that market. If they buy EA, similar property as buying Blizzard and Activision, but I don't know. It's a little bit more insidious because you guys know my opinions on EA. I think there's a lot they have to iron out to make that work for Sony's ecosystem if they were to do that.
I haven't personally, and maybe I could be not so much in the game, I mean, news or anything like that, but EA hasn't released much lately, have they?
I honestly don't know.
The newest FIFA, which
like
is
their
like
sporting
yearly.
games,
Yeah.
They always. I mean, they do the sporting games all the time, but
You're right.
the
I don't
last
think
EA
they have.
game I played was the Star Wars Fallen
Order. Yeah, I think they are doing stuff, but you're right. There hasn't been any massive campaigns in the last little while. I think EA might be taking a bit of a lap too. They got beat up pretty bad in terms of how they've been conducting their business lately, which rightfully so. I mean, they're not exactly consumer friendly per se.
Yeah.
But that being said, there was a EA just came out. Was it EA? No, it was Star Wars that basically said that Respawn, the guys who made Jedi Fallen Order, are releasing 3 new Star Wars games. So that Star Wars IP has moved from DICE, which is doing the Battlefront games and all that stuff, to now Respawn, which I don't know. That says a lot about what they're trying to do with their Star Wars IP and who they trust in making games for them. So it's hard to think about the fact that Sony might buy EA, but now that I've seen Microsoft buy Activision, I'm not surprised. And if you told me tomorrow,
catch up though, we chatted about it, but I think that's part of it. They're trying to play a bit of that catch up, make sure that they have a little bit of the muscle in the room.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Sony's still going to have that meeting. I'm sure as soon as this was made official, and they may have even known ahead of time. I'm sure there was doesn't matter what time of the day. Let's have a chat about this. What's going on? Who knows? What should we do? Anything?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think we'll see something out of Sony, even though they've already kind of done what Microsoft just did. I think they'll go for a bigger, like WB Games.
That'd be a massive,
right? Because Mortal Kombat's pretty fucking big right now. It's been big since 11 came out for some reason.
Yeah, it's true actually. I
don't want to say oddly enough, because Mortal Kombat's a fun game. It's a great game to play, but it seems like this one just kind of re-sparked that love of Mortal Kombat in people.
Nice.
I would agree. Actually, you're right. I mean, they release a Mortal Kombat, every year, 2 years. And I remember the hype around 10 and 9. And I was like, I remember playing 9, thinking nothing of it. But yeah, you're right. 11 reinvigorated that series in a way that we haven't seen in a while. And I could, man, if Sony could pull off that acquisition, that'd be bonkers too.
Because then you'd have your Batman games if they made new Batman games.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff like that
too.
Like other properties, Batman, Harry Potter.
Yep.
You have more of those pop culture-y kind of properties attached to WB games.
There's one thing. It's funny you mentioned that the WB games, because there's one thing that I was reading about in terms of Sony's wheelhouse of what they could do. And one of the things they're doing, and this is more Sony than anybody, is so we have the Spider-Man games, which are exclusive to PlayStation, to the Sony contract. Well, now we have the Wolverine game coming out, which is apparently rumored to connect with the Spider-Man game. And there's this talk about them starting to build this Marvel gaming universe. And I mean, if it's Wolverine, that means the rest of the X-Men are coming. And it's like, here's the thing. If you can build that, like you can build a fucking exclusive game world of strictly Marvel characters on your console, that's doing a really good job.
Well, I guess Sony being in bed with Disney, right? Like,
well, I was about to call out who's Disney buying.
Well, exactly, and that's the next point of our conversation. Is let's just talk about acquisitions in general. Yes, $70 billion for Activision Blizzard King is a big deal, but it's definitely not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, Disney's acquisition of Fox was a bigger deal.
Yeah, that was a bit yeah.
Massive deal. And where are we on this? Where as the Gentleman Society podcast keeps going here, how do we feel about these massive acquisitions of entertainment moving forward?
I bow to the appropriate overlords.
I think it's something that's always somewhat been.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Like regardless of how much they have now, ABC's been a subsidiary of Disney for fucking God knows how long.
Way too long.
And who else was a parent company of who, right? Like Universal owned NBC.
Still do. Yep.
And still do,
yep.
right?
One of those apps.
I know, yes.
And that's been for who knows how long. So going back to we're talking entertainment industry, let's go back to the 30s.
Yep.
When the entertainment industry started, right? There's always been somebody behind it, right? So like some big investor dude started Paramount, and then Paramount bought this, and so on and so forth, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So, but I don't. Yeah. So I guess I don't really see a problem with it. It's kind of the way of the business, right? So
yeah.
You look at the music business; it's the same way. You have Jive, you have then subsidiaries of Jive Records, which are like Zomba, and
right.
I'm sure Jive is owned by somebody else. I'm pretty sure Death Row falls into that camp somehow too, right? Like it's, yeah, everybody's in bed with everybody. Yeah. Everybody's touching everybody's booty.
You hope. You hope that's the way it goes. But should it be that way? And I'm playing devil's advocate here. Because
no, I think Microsoft maybe should have learned from what happened back in the like mid to late 90s where they were, I think they almost got pulled into court for having a monopoly on
Windows. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And they were pushing
so
Internet Explorer and all that shit.
Now they're kind of doing that again. It's like, didn't you learn from last time? But maybe because of the whole Disney thing, nobody gives a shit anymore.
Well, two things. Dave, did you want to say something before I get into these things?
No, well, more just, I guess mine was more of a generic, even when the nice thing about the gaming industry, and I say nice thing because, nothing is perfect, is that even when you get this style of game, and it's over and over, somebody over here pops something out. And it's that whole new thing, and they get really popular. And then, like anything in life, we talked about already, the rock games, all those different things. Minecraft, like I remember when that popped out of nowhere, and you think about Minecraft as where it started. You built blocks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always think of, at least in gaming, and even in gaming, I think is a bit easier in some ways, and I say easier because you can generally, if you have the right type of graphics, the right type of developer, and I mean even just people, you can sometimes get that seed, which can make people really want to get involved, and it does make it huge. Whereas you start talking about TVs, movies, yeah, you can get a bit of a seed, but you need a bit more.
That's true. That's good. Yeah. That's a very good point. I think for the gaming landscape, for all intents and purposes, it's still a wild, wild west in a lot of ways. Right? There's a lot of feeling out grounds, trying to figure out what's going to be great and big. And like you said, nobody really knows what's going to be big and popular. You could spend millions of dollars in a AAA game, it might fall flat. But then you have these independent games that a few $1,000s are spent on them, they hit like gangbusters. So it's still an open world when it comes to pardon the pun when it comes to the gaming industry.
The entertainment industry's definitely been solidified. Like it's this is how it runs, this is what we do. There are certain little things that sneak by, like we could say Tom Green, for instance. Let's just take, right? He was doing Rogers Cable shit for God knows how long. MTV picks him up. He's still doing that same kind of guerrilla, sketch kind of thing.
Sure.
And then it kind of snowballs from there, right? Like, I think if it weren't for Tom Green, we wouldn't have Jackass.
Oh.
If it weren't for CKY, we wouldn't have Jackass.
Well, that's for sure.
If it weren't for Tom Green doing what he did, CKY probably wouldn't have been looked at.
That's a very good observation. I'd have to, yeah.
Right?
I think I agree, but I got to look at my understanding of that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The point is those little dudes do still sneak in TV and movies, right? Well, I think movies more so as well. You have more independent film than you do independent television.
Yeah, because the commitment's
right?
far less greater to a movie than it is to a television show.
And I think
less resources.
And I think they're with television, they're probably thinking about selling commercial space, selling ad space.
Typically,
right?
yeah.
Like maybe it's a show about dudes, so you're not going to be able to sell ads to Playtex, right?
Right, got you. They have a market demographic.
Ads to Playtex during the Man Show. It's just not gonna, right? Whereas with a movie, it's a little, it's different. You're not necessarily needing to sell ad space for that movie. You've got a product placement, but if Coke doesn't want to be in the movie, we'll go to Pepsi. Pepsi doesn't want to be in the movie, we'll go to RC Cola. We'll just make up our own fucking pop.
For sure.
Not that I'm aging myself.
Not at all. Well, here's the thing. I think I agree with all your points there, but when I think of the Fox acquisition, Disney acquiring Fox, Marvel, Star Wars, I do ask questions around competition, which I firmly believe, being a pro wrestling fan and a fan of media, competition drives us to be our best in whatever capacity that might be. When you're a company like Disney and you own, I don't know, what, 40% of the market share, maybe 50% of the market share.
They own a lot, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, outside of fucking Fox's sports and news, they own Fox, right? Disney also owns Disney, which owns everything. On top of that, they own Star Wars, which when you think about the fact that they acquired Star Wars for $4 billion, I feel like they got a deal.
But that was also a Fox thing as well.
Essentially,
right?
It was. Yeah, you're right.
Because Lucas and Lucasfilm made the smart deal when they went in to pitch A New Hope, right? Because he ended up retaining the rights. They were just distributing it. You
say smart deal. I say deal out of desperation because no one else would fucking pick them up. But that's besides the point. We're not going to get into that.
Well, yeah, but in hindsight, it was a smart deal because he retained all of the merchandising rights.
Absolutely,
he retained the rights to the properties and everything like that, and then he ended up becoming George fucking Lucas and was able to create Lucasfilm.
For sure. Hey, listen, right? I make jokes, but I'll never shit on Fox because they bankrolled Star Wars. So, like, I mean,
not necessarily. No, they didn't bankroll Star Wars.
Well, the distribution side of it, they did.
Distribution, yeah, but he took the money that he made personally from the first Star Wars and put it into the second and put it into the
Sorry,
third.
I should have put that in context. Bankroll, I meant by funding the distribution of the first film, which is what made.
I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking production.
No. I meant just the distribution and making.
Okay, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Sure.
Yeah, because he almost went bankrupt making that fucking movie. So,
but I think that was Disney's. That could have been Disney's way into Fox as well.
That's
because Lucas and Lucasfilm and Fox were in cahoots.
That's a good point.
To a point.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, and then so Kathleen Kennedy goes and says, "Hey, here's $4 billion." Have $4 billion and we'll take Star Wars, and you can still kind of be over here telling us what's what and what we should do and what we shouldn't do to,
Well, and let's not make any bones here. Yeah, he might have sold it to Disney, but he still makes money off the franchise. It's not like
I'm sure there's still some sort of deal in there where he's
absolutely
still making a percentage, right?
And like you said, he's consulting, so he's in a position where he could sit there and consult and say what he wants done in films, and then when they don't go those decisions, he can go on news sources and be like, "Yeah, no, that wasn't my take." Yeah,
yeah. But this isn't a new thing either. Even before this, they had like the Star Tours ride at Disney.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was they had like a tiny little Star Wars corner in what was it called? MGM Studios.
Yeah,
that part of their theme park, which was all geared towards movies. Yeah, they had that, and they still have. Is it the Indiana Jones stunt show?
Oh, really?
which is a Lucasfilm property.
Oh, I didn't know
Right?
that.
Yeah, my dad was in it.
Oh, really? Cool.
They pick people from the audience to come and do like little
Oh,
things.
nice.
Yeah, my dad. This is when I was 9 years old or something like that. This is going back, fucking 31 years. Oh my god.
You're really old, eh, man?
Yeah, man. Holy jeez.
But yeah, so yeah, they were in bed somehow.
Yeah.
Initially, right? But then $4 billion.
Yeah, $4 billion.
$4 billion.
What that
it
deal
still blows my mind.
I know.
For fucking Star Wars.
Fucking Star.
Like, yes, Star Wars is great, but is it really $4 billion?
Hey, they're making that.
I guess what we're seeing. I'm sorry. I guess what we're seeing now. Yes, it's $4 billion.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Mandalorian's phenomenal. Boba Fett is fucking awesome.
pretty great.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And you can say what you will
yeah.
about the sequels. They made their money back. Like, I mean, yeah. But me too. Yeah.
I didn't hate. I prefer 8, 9, and 10, or
Oh, yeah.
7, 8, 9 more than I 1, 2, and 3 for sure.
1,000%.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Never question. Yeah.
And that's what happens when Lucas doesn't direct.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Shots fired.
We covered that off, so everybody go back to the old podcast. We clearly dictated the purpose.
Go back to
Really?
the beginning of season 2 here and
Yeah.
go click on My Wife Reacts to Star Wars.
That's right. That's right. I will say
You know
this.
about that.
When that deal was going through, I thought Disney was getting it for cheap. I thought
Oh, really?
I thought Lucas could have charged another 2 or 3 billion for the Star Wars franchise, because you think of where they were when that acquisition was happening. They were still riding high. Merchandising was massive. And I actually learned something about LucasArts recently through a gaming thing I was watching. Whereas I'll explain in a minute. But I think where they were at, I was like, really? Only 4 billion, you say?
Only.
Okay, I guess.
I kind of agree with you, because they've never, in memory, again, in 31 years of being into Star Wars, if not longer, I don't remember merchandising for Star Wars ever going away.
It never has, really.
It's always been something that's, Star Wars lunchbox,
Yeah.
Star Wars this, Star Wars that, Star Wars fucking backpacks, boots, underwears, underoos, fucking Halloween costumes.
The only thing they didn't merchandise until like the fucking 2000s was the movies. Like forever, there was New Hope, there was Empire, and there was Return of the Jedi, which were like the only thing we had to go on, with the exception of the books and a couple of cartoon series that didn't mean much for the most part. But that was it.
Droids was great, man.
Yeah, no.
Droids
I'm not knocking the shows. They were great shows, but they weren't like, they weren't the mainstream, which were the 3 movies that everybody watched, to the point where like Lucas re-released those fucking movies. he kept you know what I mean? Like he kept like, wait, we got some new visual effects. Let's re-release these movies. Wait. We got more visual effects. We got some CGI. We're gonna include that in here.
You should not open up that door, otherwise this episode's gonna like never be over.
I know.
Oh fuck, man. I would have told Lucas, I would have been like, hey, I'll give you $4 billion, but you can keep that shit.
Sure. But we didn't know that at the time.
We're just gonna re-release the original without the effects. Because Muppets and Disney, so
Right.
we're just gonna re-release the originals without the effects, and you can throw that shit in the trash. Go put it with E.T. All right.
But the problem is, we
video
didn't know that at the time. We just knew new Star Wars was coming. We're like, fuck it, we don't care. Let's just bring on the new Star Wars. I don't give 2 shits, and I want it. And then it wasn't until after the fact, and you're like, oh, what? No, can you just release the original? Nope, they were burned up on fire. No, they weren't. Nope, they were. No. Mark my words, I'm fucking convinced that Lucas has the originals on reel somewhere, but he won't tell anybody he has them. I'm convinced they're out there somewhere.
Well, I have them.
Yeah, exactly.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
He has the original VHS.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, mind you, could you put those in digital format for me, please? Could you?
Actually, I have to admit, I have them in digital. A great man in my life took them off his old VHS and put them onto DVD for me going back a decade or 2.
After this podcast, I'm coming over, and you can put on a flash drive for me. Thank you.
Dave has the originals, like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
That without the goofy crap added.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That is amazing.
That's wonderful.
That
I
is
wish
great.
I wish I could have that as well. I've got, unfortunately, the first special edition that they released on VHS.
I will admit I have those as well.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think the only thing in that I enjoyed was when they go into Mos Eisley and there's those big lizardy creatures Other than that, all the other CG was crap. Like, how do you fuck up Jabba the Hutt? Come on.
Oh yeah, they messed up everything.
Anyway, acquisitions.
Anyways, acquisitions.
Let's go back to acquisitions.
When that was going on, like I honestly thought Disney got them for cheap, and clearly I was right, because I think they've made their money back and they're continuously making money off of it. And the reason why I thought that is because when I knew what was coming in the pipeline, what George Lucas was coming up with that Star Wars TV show, which I think probably is manifested in The Mandalorian in some respect or another, and there's all these other things they wanted to do. It's like, oh my god, the possibilities are endless for Star Wars. And then it was like, oh no, we're going to sell the franchise. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And so they got it, and that's fine. And now we all have way more Star Wars that we could ever fucking ask for. Case in point, this is what I wanted to touch upon. There were so many Star Wars games back in the early to mid 2000s, which especially Lego ones. There was fucking a million Lego games. Was a GameStop, when they still have pull, went to Telltale, like, stop making games. We don't have the shelf space to sell your games. So stop. We need you to cool it and bring it back, right? And then they had to, because I mean, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna keep making games? And there's a whole other, conversation about crunch culture and all this stuff into that. But
even when LucasArts was doing PC games, there were tons of Star Wars games.
Tons of them, yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like they had the Jedi, what is it? Jedi Knights and all those games, right? I think Battlefield was first.
Battlefront, the original.
Battlefront, yeah, sorry, Battlefront
for the PS2. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, I think wasn't that a PC thing first? Didn't that land on?
I don't know. My recollection was it released on both, but I could be wrong. I don't know for sure.
I don't know either.
Yeah, even before the PlayStation 2 was a hot commodity. It was like they were puking out PC games left and right.
They really were.
X-Wing fighters and right.
Yeah,
arcade games. You had the cool arcade fucking console thingies that like walk back and forth and shit.
That's true. So they were making lots of money. So, anyways, I think, and you know what, to your point, AJ, about the wheels being greased early on with between Disney and Star Wars or LucasArts, I'm sure that's why they got it for $4 billion. Like, if it was another company trying to pay for Disney, I don't think it would have gone so cheap. I think he would have asked for more.
I think you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
But he was tight with Kathleen Kennedy, like you said, and probably some other higher ups within that organization, and knew that Disney could keep it kid friendly and would probably honor most of his wishes, which I think they have.
Oh no, I gotta give them a plus. Like, Disney has kicked ass.
They really have.
I think Disney's handled the Star Wars property very well.
Far better than I expected them to. I'll be honest. I thought a lot of shit was going to go to shit.
Boba Fett.
And that was smart. You hired guys like David Filoni, who did the Clone Wars, and you hired guys like fucking what's his face, Jon Favreau, right? Who are clearly, they love this shit. They love it. Like, they're fans first, and producers and directors and writers second. So that's why we're getting such amazing stuff, right?
And now you have big names attached to it, like I don't know if you've noticed in the credits, Chris, but Robert Rodriguez has directed a few of the Boba Fett's, and he's an executive producer on all of them.
Yep,
right?
I have noticed
because of having him direct a Mandalorian episode or two. Now he's on board, so you're getting all these other big name, writer, director kind of dudes.
Yep,
doing this shit.
And this brings in credibility past the Star Wars franchise, where it's like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, but you're like you're from Dusk Till Dawn fan. I know that's an old, outdated reference, but you're like a Rodriguez fan. Then you might turn into the Book of Boba Fett because you want to see what the hell he can do with the Star Wars franchise. And like I'm a massive Rodriguez fan. I've pretty much watched everything, even the fucking Spy Kids series, which well, I love his work. And now you get to see him playing a sandbox that's not his. And it's interesting to see what he's doing. And when you watch Boba Fett, you're like, you could see the touches of Rodriguez, but it's clearly Star Wars. Like it's Star Wars through and through, right?
And I think it was a great thing to do, considering the style of show The Mandalorian was itself,
Yeah.
right? Like it had that Wild West desperado El Mariachi kind of vibe to it for sure.
Right.
So to have him throw his input on how he would handle this story is really cool to see. I love it. Even with Boba Fett. Boba Fett's kind of the same thing. It's that lone wolf desperado El Mariachi thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I have critiques about Boba Fett, but that's another show. But you're absolutely right. So I ask you this: if, let's say, Disney didn't acquire Star Wars, and this is obviously a hypothetical what if question, would they have shows like this through LucasArts specifically, and B, could they attract the Robert Rodriguez's to do work on it, or would it all be through Lucas? Right? You know what I mean? Like, what does that vision look like?
Yes, I think Lucas. I think they would have started Star Wars streaming, like a Star Wars streaming service
channel. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then, because were there not things that were put out? Was Rogue One under Disney?
Yeah.
Or was that before Disney?
Nope. Definitely was under Disney.
That was the first Disney thing, right?
Was the first?
I honestly don't know.
I can't remember. It's definitely close to the first, if not the first, for sure.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking because
I can't remember the roadmap now.
but then Solo was probably Disney too, because they got Ron Howard
for
for Solo.
Was that Ron Howard?
Ron Howard directed Solo. I'm like 80% sure. I think they did like half the movie with somebody else, and then it was like, no, fuck, this dude's not working out. So he came in and did a bunch of reshoots and finished the movie.
Oh well.
I actually didn't know that.
I'm 80% sure. I am human. I could be wrong. I believe Chris is asking.
The phone.
You're right. Yeah, Ron Howard. Yeah, directed by Ron Howard.
I believe that was. But I believe that was Disney.
Second Star Wars anthology film following Rogue One. Yeah, you're right. There you go.
So Rogue One would have been the first.
For sure. Yep. Cool.
In the Disney lineup of Star Wars properties.
But even still, like you said, they just attracted Ron Howard to that project. Which again, would that have been a thing if it wasn't a Disney thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Lucas was done. I think Lucas was done.
I think that's ultimately the story we're telling here, right? Is he was done with the franchise for sure.
So to keep that going, he would have to reach out to, like, who knows? We could have had a Star Wars that was directed by fucking Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because Steven and George are good pals there.
Good buds. I'm surprised we didn't get anything in the 80s. Elements, I guess.
We got Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but I'm surprised Spielberg was not involved in anything
like Star Wars.
But not. Like it is, but it's
like Star Wars with a whip.
I love Indiana, and I love that Spielberg's imprints or fingerprints are all over it. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. But it would have been cool to see more Spielberg-esque stuff in Star Wars, which we never really got, as far as I know. It would be kind of cool to see, you know.
Close Encounters. That was the first Star Wars.
Sure.
Close Encounters was like the original prequel.
Right, the original OG, exactly.
And then it went into episode 4.
Like, imagine that for a second. Imagine if Lucas took the same route for the prequels that Disney took for 7, 8, 9, where it's like, we're going to go with different directors. I know that wasn't necessarily how they started, because they wanted to go with J.J. Abrams. And then they switched up for whatever. Well, no, they originally wanted to do 3 directors. That's
well,
true.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie
of all time? Empire, obviously.
That wasn't directed by George Lucas.
I know it wasn't. That's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm saying is, so imagine if they did that with episodes 1, 2, and 3, where they took on different directors and different writers.
I get,
right?
Yeah.
What would that landscape look like? It would look fundamentally different. I don't know if it'd be better or worse. I'm assuming better, but I don't know.
I feel like it would have been better because having somebody else working with the properties, maybe they feel like they should have held back a little more, whereas Lucas helming it and it's his money.
Yeah.
It's his fucking story. It's his studio. It's his fucking show. He was able to do whatever the hell he wanted. And I'm not sure if it was one of you guys. If it was one of you guys who said this, who brought this to my attention, or if it was if I saw it on like YouTube or something like that. But apparently after seeing episode 1, George Lucas turned to his executives or whatever and said, I think I may have gone a little too far.
You don't say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had yes men in his corner, right? I mean, when you have that longevity, who's going to say no to you?
Right? Like when you're the boss and you're you're helming this project.
It's like this.
Nobody's going to tell you no.
Right. When you're working on A New Hope and nobody's seen a sci-fi epic outside of a Star Trek show, and you're making all these visionary decisions, you're going to have everybody around you be like, George, I don't know about this. I don't know. I think you maybe could do this differently, blah, blah, blah. And then through all the triumphs and tribulations that happened for New Hope, we got one exceptional movie. Fast forward to 2000 or 99, I guess. Then that was episode 1. I think it was episode 1.
I think it was 99.
Yeah.
99. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, no, we should definitely. Yeah, midichlorians. Yeah. That's all it.
Oh yeah, as soon as the chings start rolling in, right? Oh yeah, people are like, yes sir. Yo, of course, Mr. Lucas. Jar Jar Binks, great idea.
There is
awesome character, best character ever, Mr. Lucas.
Of course,
for sure.
There is Phil, our boy Phil, introduced us to, I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but seek it out. It's like an hour-long analysis of episode 1 and how like all the problems with it. And one of the things they're like, there's no actual main character to it, right? There's no actual main plot to it, right? And he breaks it down and he's like, think about it. Who's the main character in this scene? Who's the main character in this scene? Who's the main villain? It's like, oh shit, you're right. And then he breaks it down in terms of the conversations that Lucas would have had at the time with certain people. And it's like, oh yeah, like I don't know if he's on point, but it seems like he was. And he seemed like I bring a lot of good points to the table. I'm like, yeah, I bet you George just had a lot of people saying yes, and
I'm thinking about it now, and I feel like the main character throughout the whole 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if it was said when we did our episode, but thinking about it now as you're saying this, I feel like it was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Sure, but you can't say that about number 1, though. You can't say that about episode 1. 1, 2, 3, you could say that, but I don't think you could say it about episode 1.
No, I'd say that about episode 1 as well, because we're seeing him follow this Jedi Master guy. It's kind of like, obviously it's kind of like when Qui-Gon dies and he takes on Anakin as his Padawan, right? So it's almost like his story of where he came from, not necessarily where Anakin came from, because we had a little more information about that beforehand, right? We knew Darth Vader, we knew he was going to become Anakin, blah 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 blah. But what's Obi-Wan's story, right? Because he's a pretty prominent figure, not necessarily character, but figure in the lore, or the Skywalker saga, anyway. Right? So, because because you get more emotion, I think, out of that story of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in episode 1, anyway.
Episode 1, yeah.
Episode 1, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for sure.
But after that, pretty much Qui-Gon's forgotten. But we're not going to get into that either. But
that's true too. Yeah.
It's like, he's mentioned as
he wasn't
Qui-Gon.
He wasn't the main character.
No, he definitely was not.
That's for sure.
Anyways, I will try to find that. And I'll link it to you so we can all watch it and get our
I would enjoy watching that. I think that would be cool to see.
It was really, really intriguing to see this person's thoughts on it. But back to acquisitions. Yeah, when it comes to video games, sorry to sidetrack back onto the video game piece. Sidetracking, I'll be going to the main point. When we look at these massive acquisitions, they're obviously to try to keep everything in house so you can generate revenue into your one stream. That's the purpose of it, which is great. But that does say something about competition. The one massive difference I see when it comes to, let's say the Disney, Fox, Star Wars, Marvel deal, which whatever, versus what Microsoft's doing or what Sony's done, is the slice of the pie is far less with Disney versus these deals being made by gaming companies. So like I feel like when Disney purchased Fox, Marvel, and Disney, like they gobbled up. I don't know the actual specifics. I'm guessing 60-70% of the market share. So it's not a monopoly by any stretch of the word, because there are other companies that exist outside of them. However, they now have the lion's share because they purchased so much of that power. If that makes sense. Whereas, okay, yeah, sure. Microsoft spent $74 billion on two of the biggest gaming companies out there to produce single games. But one, those dividends haven't come through yet because there's those game publishing companies haven't produced games for them just yet. But two, there's still so many other companies out there with no predictable future that you can't say that Microsoft is creating a monopoly, because nobody knows how, or any gaming company for that matter, knows how these other companies are going to proceed. Like, there's no more a AAA game is going to do better than an indie game, because that's just not true anymore. And indie games are now becoming as popular and as money or profitable as AAA games and these big games that you start to see. So it's a very different landscape in terms of gaming versus any other source of media. And I think I wanted to get your guys' opinion on, like, if you're a gaming company, do you seek out getting bought out by somebody else, or do you try to stay in your little train and try to continue forward making the game that you love?
I think it depends on your ideals. It's just like an indie band, right? Do you actually go out and seek being picked up by a record label, or do you not want to sell out and do it on your own? Do your own thing. Do it with a smaller record label that's able to distribute your stuff at least, right? Like, yeah. So,
yeah, for me, it's just more of a. My suspicion would be, unless the company themselves are in trouble, they're probably not looking to be bought. But if somebody knocks on your door and says, "Hey, we're willing to give you a fill in blank. Here's our thoughts, ideas," and you're okay with it, then you'll probably want it.
Yeah,
it probably comes down. It probably comes down to, like you're saying, somebody coming knocking on your door with $74 billion. You look at your fucking sheets for the past existence of your company and say, have we made $74 billion in our lifetime? No, probably not. So you know what? Yeah, we'll take your $74 billion fucking dollars.
For sure. We'll take that money. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And every company's going to be different in terms of how they operate and what they want, what they need, and continue moving forward.
And you put billion after a number. It's really hard to walk around. Dude, how would you like $1 billion? That's what, 1,000. That's 1,000 millions.
Yeah, exactly. But
right? Like,
the thing is,
that's a lot of millions.
That's a lot of millions. Well, the thing is too, I was thinking Candy Crush alone had to have made more than 70 billion. Like, I assume, like, I mean, it's made too, so much money, right?
I've never paid into it, but I'm sure a lot of people have. I play the free version of Monopoly Slots.
Okay.
Which is a Zynga game.
Oh, Zynga game. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people throw fucking money at that, right?
I'm confident they do. And I'm not going to spread anything, but when I used to work for a prominent financial company as one of their frontline representatives, I can't tell you the amount of people that were throwing money towards digital games. Like, it's widespread. Like, there's no one rhyme or reason.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually paid money to play a game on my phone. As once it gets to that point where it's like, you need to pay money to progress past this point, I'm like, no, I'm gonna uninstall you from my motherfucking phone.
Yeah,
I have paid for a game because I was really liking the game, and it was no crazy or anything with it. It was just hey, help me out. I'm like, yeah, you know what, I like this game. Now this is going back a few years, but
same boat. I've only ever purchased games outright. I don't think I've ever paid any sort of gems or DLC or whatever. And the same thing. It's like, yeah, I like what you're doing. I'll give you a few bucks for that because it's worth it, and I'm gonna keep playing it for sure. But to your point, AJ, for any of those, pay as you go games. I've just never bothered because I mean,
what did South
pardon?
What did South Park call them? Free to play or freeware? Or
Yeah, well,
what was
it's
that
case.
episode?
There was one South Park game that I did buy. I can't remember the name of it, but I think I paid $5 for it, and it's because the demo was so good. It wasn't a Phone Destroyer. I can't remember what it was called. It was before that. I don't even think they made it. I think they were involved, but it was some sort of third party company. But it was fun. I was like, yeah, it's $5. Why not? No, had a good time.
No, I don't think I'd ever pay for a mobile game.
It's pretty rare. Like, I mean, but again, like we're talking about, like it has to be worthwhile for me to kind of to buy into it. But you know, for the most part,
I'm sure Candy Crush. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure Candy Crush. But would you now be focusing on releasing a new Candy Crush though, because it's already made its $1 billion? Like everybody's already.
That's a good point. I don't know. Because here's the thing: you've already got a
Guitar Hero thing. Everybody's already over it, right? Like,
yeah, but you have a built-in install base, and I don't think. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I'm assuming a lot of people still play Candy Crush, even though we don't see it as advertised as it once was or whatever. I assume there's still a pretty massive market out there. But then I agree with you. Like, do you go and build a new one? Do you go find whatever the next big mobile gaming hit is? Because even though we're not massive mobile gaming fans, like it's a massive industry. Like there's a lot of people that play mobile games. I would probably say there are more people that play mobile games than any other style of gaming out there. I think we're at that point in society. Yeah, it might not be for us or even North America, but globally, yeah.
Well, even in America, like I look at my wonderful mother, and she will sit there and play little games on her phone. Now she doesn't pay money for it, it's fair, but she's doing that. Would she go sit down and play Xbox or play a computer game? Maybe a solitaire on computer, but that'd be about all.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Nikki definitely likes the Farmville.
There you go.
But I'm a toilet mobile gamer. Because I used to go in with the magazines, right? Yep. That I was the guy who my bathroom was my library. But since mobile games have come out or social media has come out and you have a computer in your fucking pocket all day, yeah, I'm a toilet mobile gamer. So I don't invest. I guess that's why I don't invest the money and the time and the whatever into it, right? Because I'm only doing it for X amount of minutes a day.
So what you're just saying is
Dave's getting a kick out of this.
AJ, good man.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're not constipated.
No.
No. Oh boy. I realized how big mobile gaming was the first time I was in China, which was obviously a while ago. You go into any sort of public setting, everybody's on their phone. I know that's not different than now.
It's not the same here.
Yeah, but at the time it wasn't. It was much more prominent there than it is here. But they were all playing some sort of game. I don't know whatever game it was. Like they're all playing some sort of mobile game. And I started to realize, like, holy shit, don't worry about our 30 million people market. Right? Think about the almost 2 billion people playing mobile games. Right? Like, I mean, that's the market share you're looking for.
Go.
Yes, exactly. So it makes, I think that's really what Microsoft was going for. I still think you're going to see them release games on Sony consoles and possibly Nintendo consoles in some fashion or another through Activision or through Blizzard, because I think those companies are so bloody big and their games have been so widespread, it's impossible to say no. And I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think the exclusive market is what Microsoft's going for. I don't think that's what their goal is, to get more of their games onto more systems so more people can play them. And
it's released under their platform first and then follow up with the 6 months later.
It's about making money, right? It's
exactly.
It's a business. It's about making money. So you'd have to be kind of stupid to do that with, have some exclusive games or whatever, right?
Sure.
But on the bigger scale and the bigger picture, like, you're going to make twice as much money, if not 3 times as much money, if not 4 times as much money, if you're releasing them on the other competitor systems, right? Like,
agreed. Yep.
You're only going to make so much if you release Tony Hawk 3 and 4 on Xbox, But if you release it on Xbox and PlayStation, you're going to make probably twice as much money.
Well, you'd hope so, right? I think one of two things is going to happen. One, either they're going to, for the Call of Duty franchise, I can't speak of others. What they'll do is they'll do something like, all right, we're going to release Warzone, which is a free-to-play game for everybody, to like everyone. And then we'll only have like the exclusive Call of Duty single-player experiences, through Xbox. Or I see the alternative being, if you want to play day one through Game Pass, you can play these games. However, if you have a Sony console and you don't want to buy the Game Pass, then you can pay outright for the game, and you pay your whatever, right? And then it's going to make Game Pass a more lucrative offer because, like, well, I'd rather pay $10 a month to try this game than to pay $80, $90 for the game outright.
I could see it almost being like what Soul Calibur did. Who I can't remember who produced Soul Calibur, but on
Bandai Namco.
But on the Xbox version, you had certain characters in the I think it was Soul Calibur 4.
Yep.
That came out. You got like the Star Wars characters. You got Darth Vader and Yoda on Xbox, and then on PlayStation, you got two other characters that were exclusive to PlayStation. So for, let's say, Call of Duty, you get these exclusive maps for PlayStation, or you get these exclusive maps for Xbox, or these weapons, or these skins, or this campaign mode, or this whatever, right? You can only get this on Xbox. So if you want to play zombie mode,
this is it.
Play on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be the exclusivity. Is there'll be features that are exclusive to, like, maybe you'll just get the straight up standard Call of Duty for PlayStation.
Yeah.
But if you want the special edition or the extended edition, you have to get an Xbox.
Yeah. I can see it going that way.
What about you, Dave? I go down on that path for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I think so. It's
that
interesting.
Would probably be the smart thing to do, because then you're gonna essentially double your money, and it's all going to the same fucking bank account.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would be shooting themselves in the foot if they just assumed that they're going to hoard everything for themselves. It's also against Microsoft's narrative with them kind of leading the charge for crossplay and whatnot. It doesn't seem like that's the route they want to go. Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if we see Game Pass on a Sony console or a Nintendo console one day. I feel like that's what Microsoft wants to do. It's like, well, we would just want Game Pass everywhere. Right. And
they're still making
it. I would tell them to take my fucking money.
Exactly. But I mean, that's really on Sony's behalf. Like, so you got to, and again, I don't want to get too much into philosophies here, but Sony is a very prideful company, and you can see that in certain actions that they've taken previously. And they really do like to have like their name and logos, up top and up front. So it'd be hard. Like, it would be up to Sony whether or not a service like Game Pass would exist, because like I can't see Sony being like, yeah, try Game Pass, brought to you by Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, there'd have to be some sort of Sony contingent there for them to be like, okay, we're cool.
They do their own game. They do their own version of Game Pass. They're not gonna do that. I don't think.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we're going to come to a point where it's going to come down to services, and you're going to have your pick, just like Dave said, with Netflix. Now we got Prime. Now we got Disney Plus. Now we got, like, I think it's the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I think boxes are still a way to go. Like, I think people are still in the mentality that need a box under the TV. I think that's something that we're going to see, but I think the services will start to become interchangeable, where it's like, well,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to that point there, you can still watch certain Marvel movies on Netflix
for now.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well,
sure. Yeah. Right.
Still, it depends on what you pay for. If you only want to, you don't care if you get all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then fucking watch it on Netflix. And
it's true.
Yeah, it also depends on the
don't get Disney Plus.
Yeah, they'll often share the older versions or something that's not quite in to date, because they're trying to get you to come on over to their side as well.
Or
that's why Disney's doing that whole IMAX expanded thing for your TV now, or some shit where you get certain. I think it's mainly Marvel movies, and it's mainly the latest ones like Shang-Chi and stuff like that, where they're doing this IMAX enhanced thing.
Makes sense. Yeah,
100% sure exactly what that means, but
well, don't be so shocked that whenever the contracts expire with Netflix and Marvel, that you're only going to see Marvel properties on Disney Plus.
Oh, guaranteed.
I'm confident that's the way it's going. In fact, case in point of the gaming thing. So when Microsoft acquired ZeniMax and Bethesda, there were 2 games that they had to honor for Sony exclusives. So one which was Deathloop, and the next one is Ghostwire Tokyo. So they have to honor those contracts. But mark my words, once that's done, they owe nothing to Sony. So you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to make any Sony exclusive games, because why would you do that when Sony's got their own arsenal of exclusives? It's just not going to happen. And I think the same is true for, well, we're starting to see it with Disney and Marvel. Once those contracts are done, kiss those other platforms goodbye for Marvel. Like, with the exception of Sony. Sony still will probably release Spider-Man properties and such through Netflix because they can. Unless Disney says, give us some more money, and then we'll go from there. Oh, we'll give you more money, then we'll go from there. But I think we're going to start to see that landscape shift, and then we're going to, again, content wars, and it's going to be like, well, what service do you sign up for? Right now, there's too fucking many. Let's be honest. I'm getting tired of there being a new service. Like, I don't want to say duped. Yeah. I'm not gonna cry about it, but I did sign up for Paramount Plus. And the reason why I did, we all know how much I'm a South Park fan. And when that deal went down, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to pay the $60 for the year. So that way I don't miss any new South Park stuff. I don't have to deal with streaming, whatever. I just want to have it. That's it. So I did that. But then, have you guys been on Paramount Plus? Have you been there?
No. I went to like the main page, and then I was like, eh.
Yeah, thank you. That's the attitude I had. It's like, what killed me was, it's like, you guys are so bare bones on your properties. I'm like, Paramount has everything. Like, why is this? And I started looking into it. Like, I own the Blu-ray copy of Scrooged, which we talked about is the best Christmas movie of all time, and it was produced by Paramount.
Next to Die Hard.
Do you think it's on Paramount Plus? No, it's not. It's definitely not on Paramount.
Oh, really?
Plus. Yeah, and there's a ton of properties out there that aren't. And I started thinking to myself, like, why is that? And then I realized, shit, they're in the same position Disney was before they started Disney Plus, and that was they licensed a shitload of their properties out to other services, and they don't have the licensing to do it on their own platform yet. So guess what Paramount Plus is doing? They're releasing their platform now. They have exclusives with South Park, which is a very solid investment, and then they're just gonna wait for those contracts to expire and be like, you know what? You want Days of Thunder? I don't know, but you want whatever, Tom Cruise, Top Gun, whatever it is. Then you gotta watch it on Paramount Plus, and then that $60 price tag spikes to $80 or $100 a year or whatever.
That was like, right? Crave.
Crave.
That's the same with Crave. Crave, like, it's got a decent show here and there, but if you wanted to watch the good shit, you had to pay for the HBO thing.
You do,
and the HBO thing wasn't even
and
all that.
Can we just talk about the preposterous nature of Crave for just a moment? Let's get things kind of cleared for a second. Crave is a third-party streaming service. They don't produce any original content. They might say they produce original content, but it's produced by other people, and they just have the distribution platform for it. Why they did that? Because it's fucking Bell. It's owned by Bell.
Because they're in cahoots with like CTV.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And they have to diversify their portfolio and how they do it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. Because of Crave, we have HBO properties here in Canada, so I'm not going to shit on them for that. But they're not producing original content like Paramount or Netflix or virtually every other fucking platform out there. They're just hosting for other people. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's just there's a difference there. There's a massive difference, because what they're worrying about is acquiring the licensing rights versus trying to produce their own stuff. Whereas, say what you will about Amazon, we all know they're the devil. We obviously know that. However, they produce some amazing content. Like they clearly understand that. We can agree to disagree, but they've invested.
I'm on the fence.
Pardon?
I'm on the fence.
Sure, that's fine. But you have to give them credit for the fact that they've taken the billions and billions and billions that they have, and they're continuously pushing it into original programming, because that's where they see is the future investment, right? And Netflix the same.
They're just trying to play catch up with.
Netflix. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, Netflix saw this a long time ago, and that's why they're like, you know what? I remember that was this was happening. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's why I did the on the fence thing, because I think Amazon is trying too hard, right? Like, they do have a few good properties. Like The Boys is great. I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about. Was it Gods and Demons? Or?
No. God Monsters.
Not American Gods.
No.
American Gods.
American Gods is great.
American Gods, that's where I'm half and half, because it's like it was good in the first season ish, and then it kind of
it came out. It's good.
It got a little too much.
I disagree. I'm with Dave on this one. I really love American Gods. I think it's maybe
I'll have to watch it from the beginning again, because and it was that I had to wait. What was it? 2 years or 3 years?
Yeah,
for the second season.
that's true.
So I just became disinterested, right?
Sure,
because it wasn't produced by Amazon in the first place.
That's true. That was all.
I don't think it was something else. Yeah, it was like Showtime or Showcase or some shit.
What was that, Dave?
The Wheel of Time is okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I want to give it a shot. But then,
whereas
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel,
that's
a good show.
I feel like Netflix found the formula.
Well,
right? They kind of know what they're doing.
That was like, don't get me wrong, it's kind of a redo, but The Stand is great on Prime.
Yeah, agreed. I would say Prime hits more than they miss. Again, it's not all their own original. You're right. It's not like some of the stuff they're just putting money on. They're not actually producing it, which is fine. But the biggest difference between them and Crave, I mean, I don't know, they're putting money to personal projects versus for
sure.
Crave is just saying it's brought to you by Crave. Whatever, that's fine.
Amazon's trying. At least they're trying.
Exactly.
Whereas Crave or I'm sure there's other ones out there that are just the same as Crave, but I'm
starting. I don't want to shit on Apple TV because they're giving me free service right now.
They produce certain things though.
They do. But I would honestly, I feel like Apple TV, although they have some pretty decent original content. If you have not watched Ted Lasso, go watch it. It's fantastic. But it's a similar thing to Crave, where it's like some stuff you can watch, or not Crave, Amazon, where it's you can purchase, where you can, but they're not very straightforward about that. So it's like you've got this original programming, but then you can dig through. I don't know if they do the channels thing like Amazon does, but they clearly are trying to kind of blur reality with like the original programming and stuff that you can purchase and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, what am I going to say to Apple? Don't do that. Like, clearly they know better than I do. It's one of those things where it's like they're all trying to kind of get that lion's share of the pie and try to make some money. And then you have like so many streaming services. It's going to become a streaming service war if it's not one already.
Oh, it's already.
Yeah, I think we're just adding in the media services. Now we got Spotify and Tidal, and now we're gonna have the gaming services. Like Netflix is already they're already gearing up for a gaming service, which like when that happens,
you can do it on your phone.
Yeah,
if you go on Netflix on your phone, you can play little fucking mobile games.
So that's just gonna expand. And like Netflix, say what you will, like them or not, they were just ahead of the curve. They have been their entire existence. They knew.
The only thing I don't like about Netflix is killing Blockbuster.
Yeah, sure, but let's be honest.
Only thing that makes me sad about Netflix.
Blockbuster was good for the time, but if you ask me if I would go into a Blockbuster now, like why? For merchandise, maybe.
You wouldn't go into a Blockbuster and rent a video game?
Probably
just to
not.
Try. Like that was the greatest part about Blockbuster, was going into Blockbuster, renting a video game, playing it for a couple days, seeing if you liked it, and then maybe going and buying it.
Yeah.
Or maybe
you have to go and spend $80 and then be like, this game's garbage, and then fucking GameStop's like, no, you can't give this back. You want to give this back? We'll give you $3.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right?
I don't know, Dave. Would you go into a Blockbuster now?
No,
I don't think I would. I just
like purpose. Like, and again, with all the services we have now, like no. Because the other struggle
maybe
is,
if they dropped it down to Blockbuster video
games. A little long, but if I wanted to watch something, I'll just pay the $4.99 online.
Yep.
I get off my butt, walk to the Blockbuster.
Well, case in point.
No, I agree with that for sure.
Let me ask you this, AJ. Here's a great point. So we don't have a Blockbuster, but we do have a Jumbo Video, and it's alive and thriving. They've partnered with Microplay. Shout out to Microplay. You guys did us good in the past. But would you go to Jumbo now? When was the last time you were there? Like when was, like, you know what I mean? How often do you go and shop there?
Probably there a year and a half ago.
Okay. It's been even longer for me. So kudos to that, right?
That's when I was in. That's because they've gotten into like, I think it's because of Microplay, but they've gotten into selling like the pop vinyl, the Funko stuff. They've got a bunch of other shit, like they do retro games and stuff there now too.
So would it be
All
fair
that
to
kind of
say that
shit.
you're not there for the games or the movies or the shows, but you're there for the memorabilia?
No, I look around the game section.
Okay, cool.
I wouldn't look around the movie section because I can find whatever I want whenever I want for a moderate fee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's streaming services. We get it. Yeah, no, we know.
Yarr.
Cool.
But when it comes to video games, again, like I said, like if I was able to say do it with PS Now, like if PS Now gave me demos or day one sort of idea, like the Game Pass thing, but it was a limited time sort of thing. So it's like, we'll give you the brand new GTA 6, but you can only play it for a month.
Right.
It's only going to be on our service for a month. If you like it, go buy it. If not, don't go buy it.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I would. Yeah, that's
okay. All right, cool.
So again, going back to what I said, rudely interrupting Dave there, if they'd rebranded it as Blockbuster Video Games,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and all they did was rent video games or something like that, I think they would have survived.
Yeah, they would have
for a bit longer. I still think even that's going away. Like even purchasing games. What's the retailer that does the buy sell thing?
GameStop.
Is that then? Yeah.
Yeah, EB, but GameStop is who owned them. Electronic Boutique. Yeah.
Like, because even they now, you walk into those. Don't get me wrong, they still have video games, but they also have the whole other ton of craft in the stores nowadays. Like,
yeah, they've got all the pop culture.
Yeah, they're trying to shift the business stuff. Because a good chunk of us, well, I should say, just in general, people, if they want a game, they just download it or they subscribe to the Xbox, Sony, all these other things.
Okay, then I should be able to rent the game from Sony. Like they should have like a service kind of like PS Now, where it's like I can rent the game for $4.99. I've only got it for 48 hours, and if I like it after that 48 hours, they throw up a screen saying 48 hours is up, but here's the link to go and buy it.
Yeah,
because again, it's that whole, if I buy a video game from either a physical copy from GameStop, or I guess can't really, maybe Walmart, I'm not sure what their policy is, or I buy a digital game from PlayStation, there's less chance I'm going to get my money back if I don't like it. I can't just walk in and be like, I didn't like it.
The challenge,
that's almost a guarantee you're not getting your money back if you die digital. Sorry, go on.
Well, no, and I also have to say,
there you go.
Talking from the business side, nowadays, if you want to see what the game's like, you go to YouTube, you explore on the net before you get into it. Like, you get reviews.
Get the hands-on playable experience, right?
Yeah, but you said that hands-on play.
I've gone on.
Heard anything about it.
I've gone on the internet and I've gone on YouTube, and aside from video games and stuff like that, other products, and other people are like, oh yeah, this is a great product, and this is, blah, 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 blah. And I get it, and I don't like it. I don't enjoy it because I didn't actually physically get to manipulate this product before I bought it. It's like going into Long and McQuaid. At least I can play the guitar before I buy it. I don't know if it's going to feel good in my hands or if it's going to play properly or play the way I want it to play, right? I had to go into, like, buying my acoustic guitar. I probably tried about 15 before I bought the one I got.
We're going to say that?
It's more of a hands-on experience kind of thing, for me anyway. Like, I have to know what I'm getting into before I spend $80. I would be much more comfortable that way.
Well, and that's fair, because I have to admit, nowadays, I would never pay $80 for a game unless I absolutely knew. I'm more in the, I'll happily pay the $13 a month just to try out random things that pop up.
True. I know, and next month I'm definitely spending at least $80 in a game. That's definitely happening because I know I can't wait. But
but like, I'd rather go over to your house.
I know the game. Pardon?
I'd rather go over to your house, play the game for 25 minutes, and then make my decision from there.
Sure, absolutely.
Right?
Or when somebody lends you a game to try, and you can have it for as long as you want, you should probably play that game, like The Last of Us. You probably should do that. That when a friend lends you their copy, just play the fucking game, AJ. That's all I'm saying. This isn't meant for anybody in particular, AJ. But it's
but when you make assumptions, you make an ass of yourself, and the will shun you.
That's true. That's true.
Because you don't know what I've put in my PlayStation recently. I could have put my penis in there. You don't know.
Are you playing your penis right now, AJ? Are you playing your penis on your PS4?
Yeah, it's a really hard game.
I
And
bet
it's pretty long too.
Okay.
You can technically share Xbox games. You just have to go over to the other person's house and sign in. That's all you need to do, by the way. And you can actually download.
That's way to keep us on point, Dave. Good job. That's good. That is true.
If you join the Xbox club,
and to Dave's point, it's to a lesser extent, but to Dave's point, you do have game trials that Sony tries out, Nintendo tries out. I think Microsoft does as well. They might not because they have Game Pass. They don't have to, but they do have, and it's not for every game, but they do have it where you can go and try before you buy, see if it's like what you like. Some companies, not in Sony, out of the major three, will produce demos and things like that. So those do exist to give you the opportunity to try.
Not like the old days, though.
But not like the old days. You're absolutely right. Those don't exist anymore. And I don't know if they will exist. I think, like what Dave's saying, I think that's it. Like the game subscription service is your next opportunity for that, where you can go and pay $13 to try a game if you like it. Well, then maybe you will go buy it.
Well, that's what
but
I'm
maybe
saying.
you won't. But then
okay. That's what I was saying. I'll pay you $5 for 48 hours.
Sure.
If I don't like it, I'm out $5. That's it.
Maybe that's what Project Spartacus is.
$85.
Who knows?
Right?
Maybe that's what Sony's project is. Project Spartacus. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're gonna try a digital rental service. I doubt it. I'm sure it's definitely some sort of streaming service. Sure, it won't have anything to do with a rental. Absolutely not. Because you look at, and this is across the board. You look at their fucking return policies. All Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony is shit. Like for the digital properties, it's shit. Like you can. Good luck trying to get money back for a game you purchase on their digital service. It's near impossible.
Yeah, I know with Steam you have 24 hours.
Pardon me?
With Steam, I think it's 24 hours.
Steam for sure. I don't know what it is for Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, but it's not that good. And
yeah, unless the game is right fucked from the beginning, right? Like we saw with Cyberpunk and the GTA Definitive Collection.
Right.
Those games were fucked from the manufacturer, so they were like, no, whoever bought this, you can have your fucking money back, and we're taking it down from the store. Right.
It's causing us more bad PR than good, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I know I accidentally purchased a game from Nintendo, and I wanted to purchase another one, and to get them to give me the money back was a pain in the ass. It took a good hour or so conversation to make that happen. So, but then they told me the policy and whatnot, and it's pretty much across the board that way. But I like Steam's 24-hour rule because it's like you go try it out. You don't like 24 hours, okay, then we'll get your money back, right? I hope that's adopted by everybody, but hopefully it's like a week.
No, I don't think it'll ever be a week because you can.
No, it won't be.
There, you can. The certain types of people could finish it.
That's true. Yeah, you should know if you like a game within a day. You should know. And if you don't try it out, well, that's on you. That's what I mean. That's on you. Yeah. Why would you go and spend X amount of dollars?
You have 3 hours of playtime or something of this nature.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
3 hours or 1 day, whichever comes first.
For sure. Sure. So yeah. So we're coming up on a couple hours now talking. Here. Do we want to discuss any further in terms of acquisitions of gaming and the future and stuff? AJ?
I'm good.
All right. Well, let's call it quits for the night, shall we?
What we need to talk about.
Sure. And you out there, are you a fan of gaming? Do you like where the future's going? Are you aware of this acquisition? If you're not and you're a gamer, what the hell? We want to know more. Please continue the conversation with us. We want to know what your thoughts are of the gaming landscape and where it's going, what's going on, how it's happening. Where do you see Microsoft going? Where do you see Sony going? Where do you see Nintendo going? Maybe they don't exist in a year. We don't know. We want to hear from you. Just keep the conversation going with us in our comments, whether through YouTube, Podbean, or anywhere else you get our podcast. Just let us know your thoughts. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, please let us know. We're coming up on our 3rd season. We're looking for guests and all that good stuff. So please let us know your thoughts of our what we're doing here, especially in the gaming industry. We would like to hear from you. Outside of that, For anybody out there that's feeling, mentally not right upstairs, if you've got some thoughts that aren't working out for you, we just want you to know that you matter, not just to us, but those that are around you. And it's important to talk about the stuff that's going on inside your head. So if you can't talk about that stuff that's going on with anyone that's close to you, we're going to leave some links in our description for you to seek any help that you might need through those services. So, yeah, for you. But until next time, I've been Harvey.
Dave Shergill.
Rutabaga. I'm AJ.
Nice. Crash Bandicoot, baby. I'll take that Whopper fruit. I'll take that Whopper fruit. Thank you very much. Thanks. I'm going to go play Crash now. I appreciate it. And just like that, you got yourself sarcastically distracted. Thanks so much for joining us. Have yourselves a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Bye now.
Bye now.